What up, dudes? It's Gaz, and welcome back to the WARFRAME video. So, Echoes of Veilbreaker doesn't have much going on, but thankfully you got an early look at some new Nightwave augment mods coming out in likely December around the Lua's Prey update, or my new name for it, Kahl of Lua. Before we get into it, keep in mind this is early stuff. It could definitely change, and it might be minor spoilers to some people if you want to see surprises when the Nightwave loot comes out, okay? So keep that in mind before we go over it. I've also done a little bit of theory crafting already as far as builds for the weapons these augments are coming out for. So, it will be something to change. There's no way for me to test this stuff right now. Also, the source of this is just someone posted them in my Discord server, and that's basically it. So take it for what you will. Hope you find the video fun and helpful. It's more of a theory crafting kind of thing, and just some early spoilers pretty much. All right? So Nightwave, new augments coming with Nightwave Remix number 3. Keep in mind, they haven't announced the end date for Nightwave Remix Volume 2, so we're definitely more than 2 weeks out, guys. Expect these mods to come out in, December. Actually, when the Nightwave will start in December, and then these will be, rank, 15 or 20 is my guess, for when you'll get them. And keep in mind, also, that Nightwave will have those pistol skins, and probably an Umber Forma as usual, and the standard Nightwave stuff. And no story. Remember, Nightwave stories now don't exist anymore. The Nightwave we have now, the maintenance mode Nightwave, that's what we get until the end of time. But at least they're putting in... There's no real good way to look at it. At least they're going to spend more time on actual updates, not Nightwave. All right. Despair aside, let's get into mod number 1. And mod number 1 is going to be Eximus Advantage. It's for the Zylok pistol, a weapon that most people probably forgot existed. So what the Zylok is, it's pretty much a... It's very similar to the Tigress Prime, actually. If you press down the trigger button and then release it, it will fire off 2 shots. But if you just press down the trigger button and don't release it, it will fire 1 shot at a time. It's a slash-focused secondary pistol. Let's actually just get it on screen real quick here. And I don't even remember where it comes from nowadays, but this actually used to come from a really old event. It's got, good slash weighting, bad crit chance, normal crit multiplier, and high status chance. So you can get some slash procs out of this thing. And I actually used to mod this thing for crit, even though it has no crit at all, and it could do okay. When you get the crit and the slash at the same time, it can be decent damage. It's got okay Riven stats, and as you see, duplex, same trigger as the Tigress. So a pretty bad weapon, but let's see what we get for running a bad weapon like this. I'm gonna call it a bad weapon. It's 8% crit, and it's single target because this is single target. Headshots on Eximus enemies increase secondary damage by 600% for 10 seconds. So immediately you look at that and you're like, does it work on Mesa's pistols? Is this a new Mesa stat stick right here? And I hope it is. Getting 1 headshot on an Eximus with a Zylok and then getting 600% increased damage for Mesa's pistols would be very nice. Because usually when I'm running Mesa, I'll have the stat stick I'll usually run on Mesa, I'll run the Furax Wraith with Amalgam Furax body count. Now they changed it. Furax body count now gives fire rate for pistols. So we get fire rate from there. If I was to run the Zylok with this mod, if it works on Mesa's pistols, that'd be a utility stat stick in the secondary slot. Unfortunately, like I said, the Zylok is single target, so you wouldn't be really using it as a CO procer, but you could still mod it for viral, I guess. It's got okay status chance like we showed, but yeah, you're not going to be using that for a CO procer. So get an Eximus headshot. Next 10 seconds, you got 600% increased damage. That's not an Eximus mod, so that's going to be in a damage mod slot. And I already pointed out how this weapon has not the best stats. So, yeah, it definitely, I don't know, it's very, specific. Eximus aren't always spawning either unless you're, pretty late into a, endless mission. For example, this normal mission I'm in right here. Do you see any Eximus in this room? I don't. I see Kahl throwing a fire grenade. That's the new air support ability. But, yeah, so it's not going to be... It's going to be doing literally nothing 90% of the time, and when it is active, you're pretty much just hoping it works on Mesa's pistols or maybe even Hildren's Balefire launcher, because the Zylok itself is very underwhelming, and it's always been underwhelming. Just more of a collector's novelty item, if you ask me. So, potential interesting applications for that one, but let's move on to the second augment mod, which I actually think is going to be a lot more interesting. It actually might make a new stat stick type, at least for disruption and stuff, and maybe even Cascade. And it's going to be the mod for the Gorgon, which is a really old weapon. It's going to be called Metamorphic Magazine. And what this one will do is give you increased magazine size by 90%, increased ammo maximum by 90%. But the important thing we're looking at here is the third line of text, or the paragraph rather. Inflicting 20 cumulative attacks on an enemy will petrify them for 5 seconds. So this is for the Gorgon. If you don't remember what the Gorgon is, it's a pretty much a generic assault rifle. You can look at like an auto rifle or whatever. It is going to fire really fast. You can mod it for fire rate, obviously. And it needs 20 consecutive hits. So I made a theory crafting build right here. Now keep in mind, we would have to sacrifice one of these mod slots for the augment. Probably just like Vigilante Fervor or something. But yeah, you want to get 20 bullets out as quickly as possible. And this thing has a 120 magazine. So if multi-shot does count, you just want to jam a bunch of multi-shot and jam some fire rate. That should be enough with multi-shot to petrify an enemy. Now the recoil is pretty aggressive. That's why you're going to probably want to unlock the Exilus slot and put like minus recoil there or something. So yeah, that will potentially work on Demolus after the update, or after that mod comes out. If it doesn't work on Demolus, it's completely dead in the water, if you ask me. An interesting effect. But we modded it for viral. You could maybe make this a CO procer and petrify thing. Could be really good for disruption. You know, like maybe we went a little bit too ham on the fire rate. I definitely could agree with that. We're firing out like so many bullets, but at the same time, you want to get 20 damage instances out. With Split Chamber and Vigilante Armaments, we're guaranteed to fire 2 bullets, and there's a 50% chance to fire 3 bullets. So if you get down to like minus 10 bullets in your magazine, that should be a petrify. And keep in mind, it's only for 5 seconds. But when you're doing disruption, I mean, different types of CC are going to have different types of durations, depending on how many times you hit them with it. So you can hit with Magus Lockdown from the Operator, then maybe hit him with this. Of course, this is not really that amazing besides what we're specifically talking about. For everyday Gorgon usage, I mean, it's going to give you magazine size, and it's going to give you maximum ammo. So if those are things that you feel like you need on the Gorgon, I've never felt the need for either of those stats on the Gorgon. You know, this might be something you're interested in. Now, as far as that's the wrong gameplay. Are either of these actually going to be worth it? Of course not. They're Nightwave Augment mods. Barely any of the Nightwave Augment mods have ever been worth it. I'm going to say, like, the Convetrix one is good because after they changed how status chance works, back in the day, guys, the Convetrix could not go above 100% status chance. So that mod, Efficient Beams, you actually didn't even want to max it out because there was no reason to, because status chance would not go above 100. And then I think there's another one, maybe like Bursting Mass some people have used. I don't think Bursting Mass is very good. And then I guess Napalm Grenades. So there's like a couple good Nightwave Augment mods, but for the most part, they're like super situational, super niche, and that's what I'm looking at right here. The Zylok getting increased damage after headshotting an Eximus, only for 10 seconds. If that doesn't work on Mesa's pistols, seriously, like make that like a minute. Like 10 seconds for one Eximus headshot, like who's even using the Zylok? I'd love to see the usage numbers for the Zylok right now. These are the types of mods that should be like a weapon-saving mod. And I don't think that a extremely conditional buff on a extremely niche pistol that has no crit to speak of, pretty much, is going to be worth it. Now, the Gorgon one, on the other hand, these are the types of augment mods I like, where it's like, okay, that does something entirely different. And the flavor win here is actually awesome, too. Think about it. From, like, mythology, Gorgons are those things that, like, you know, like heroes would look at them and they turn to stone. It's like you're looking at me for 20 bullets worth of time, you're turning to stone. That's cool. That is actually a flavor win, and I actually like this one. I just don't know. If it doesn't work on Demolist, it's not going to be worth it. It's not going to be worth it at all, because I'm not going to be running the Gorgon in the first place, and this is sacrificing a damage slot, obviously, so it's going to be down like a stat stick or like utility weapon route. So, you know, it's interesting. I like these more than the last ones where we got for like the whatever it's called, the Akjagara, and I think there was like a Tigress one. They were both really, really bad and like not even exciting in the slightest. This is a lot better than that. This is like a night and day difference from that. At least, actually, no, on both of them. Not even just the Gorgon one. So, interesting stuff. Keep an eye out for that release date. Like I said, we'll know at least 2 weeks ahead of time when the current Nightwave is going to end. So, no big rush yet, and it's not like there's anything in this current Nightwave that's really like crazy anyway. So, I'll see you guys next time. I'll be live later tonight on the live stream channel. And yeah, do daily videos on this channel. Make sure you're subbed and all that, guys. Appreciate it so much. Take it easy. Peace.